Well, here's a frightening example of art imitating life, folks. The Netflix movie White Noise from just last year is a story of a suburban family's life getting upended following a toxic train crash. And guess where it takes place? Ohio.
Dad, wake up, we have to leave. Mom, 5 more minutes. No more minutes.
Okay, roll film.
Would you like that, a protein?
That stuff causes cancer in laboratory animals, in case you didn't know.
Either I chew gum or I smoke.
What are these children, yours?
That's mine from wives 1 and 3. And there's Babette's from husband 2. Wilder is ours. We're each other's 4th.
Life is good, Jack.
I hope it lasts forever.
Let's watch a sitcom or something.
No! They're calling it the airborne toxic event.
It won't come this way.
Will we have to leave our home?
Of course not.
How do you know?
I just know.
Okay, what if it's dangerous?
Evacuate all places of residence.
We have a situation. All we have to do is stay out of the way.
They're passing us, Dad.
Technically, that's illegal.
Do sheep have lashes?
Ask your father.
We're going sideways.
Dad, do sheep have lashes?
Doesn't anyone want to pay attention to what's actually happening?
I wish there was something I could do. I wish I could outthink the problem.
There are 2 kinds of people in the world. Killers and dyers. Most of us are dyers.
Right now we're safe. As long as the children are here, they need us.
Of some persistent sense of large-scale ruin, we keep inventing hope.
This story is one of the weirdest coincidences ever. People living in eastern Ohio evacuated their homes last week following a train derailment and chemical spill that sent toxic chemicals into the air. The crazy thing is, they did the same thing for a fictional disaster film a year ago.
Something that could actually kill someone.
Let's watch a sitcom or something.
Evacuate all places of residence.
All right, I'm gonna break this down here. The movie is called White Noise. It came out on Netflix in November. It stars Adam Driver. The premise of the movie is this: a freight train derails and explodes, and families have to flee the toxic fallout. The film was shot all over Ohio. It features extras in vacation scenes, including a family from New Palestine. Ben Ratner and his family filmed a scene where they were sitting in a traffic jam of people who were trying to evacuate. Then, last week's train derailment in real life and fire happened less than a mile from their home. They had to leave for real.
Yeah.
Isn't this wild?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, the simulation is not even good. It's crazy. They stayed at town over a while authorities conducted a controlled burn to get rid of those chemicals. The EPA says there's no longer a risk to people in that area, but the family is not so sure. They told CNN they are not thinking that they're ever going to go back.
When Ben Ratner signed up to be an extra on White Noise, a movie that was about a train accident that caused a chemical leak, he never thought it would become his reality. Ratner is an extra in a traffic jam scene sitting in a line of cars trying to evacuate. The movie follows a family after a train hits a tanker truck, creating a chemical cloud. White Noise came out in 2022 and was shot around Ohio. Ratner is an extra in a shoot in Salem.
My dad and I went, and they had us basically in cars evacuating.
The plot of the movie is not lost on the East Palestine community.
Because there's only so much negative you can focus on. People are like, oh, how about this, it's kind of uncanny here, this movie.
Ratner tells me he tried watching White Noise again soon after the derailment.
Probably like 15 minutes in, I turned it off. It was not something that I was ready to watch yet.
The night of the fire, Ratner and his family were watching his kids' basketball game. They weren't sure what was wrong at first. They live in what was the 1-mile evacuation zone, and it became clear they needed to get out.
Loaded up the kids and the dog and a little bit of clothes we had from mother-in-law's house and went and stayed in Salem.
He waited for a few days after the evacuation order to bring his wife, kids, and dog back. He says he worries about the effects of the disaster on East Palestine.
Being an extra on that film and now seeing it happen in your own backyard, it's got to be, I don't know, kind of chilling, right?
Yeah, it definitely is an uncanny situation. I think after you kind of take a step back and look at it, these sort of situations always unfold the same way. The person at fault or the company at fault controls the narrative early on, creates a lot of confusion. People don't know what to do or how seriously to take the situation. And as things come out and go on, it gets worse and worse for people, and it gets harder to understand the full breadth of the situation until probably years from now, decades from now, we'll be able to look back and see how things really fell apart on multiple levels.
And unfortunately, that's usually the way it works. Government says everything's fine, and then, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, cancer starts spreading, and they go, oh yeah, I remember that East Palestine, Ohio train wreck. Maybe that had something to do with it. But, in the movie, in White Noise, I remember by the way, great movie, folks. White Noise, the father's looking out the window and he says to the kids and the wife, don't worry, it's way over there, that we see the plume, it's not moving this way. And Ben, before you know it, it's everywhere. Feels like the same situation.
Yeah, for me, we were not able to look from a distance. For us, we're about 0.7 of a mile away from the situation. And it's hard now, thinking of it as entertainment. Whenever it first came out, it was interesting, and I, thought it was cool that I was an extra. Now at this point, it's hard to watch. And part of it is because it really captures things in human nature that, we're basically the same people in different clothes. This movie takes place in the 70s. The book was written in the 80s. And it's still something that kind of fits the times because people are still always kind of fighting the same situations, always trying to fight their way through these powerful businesses and people in power.